So the other day, I found my head in my hands,
Mm,
and I was having one of those. This is hard,
yeah.
right? Being
Yeah.
successful is hard, which I'm not saying it isn't. But then it came to me, dude, this is the easiest job ever.
Mm,
And let me tell you why.
mm,
And I get it. There's hard parts to it.
sure.
So if I'm selling, I got a buddy of mine sells life insurance.
Yeah.
He's got an even harder job because he has to convince them they need life insurance. Right now, you and I might go, well, dude, who doesn't know that? Well, apparently a lot of people.
Right.
You know, what makes this the easiest job ever is they're buying a house.
Yeah. We're not convincing them to buy a house. They're buying a house.
They're buying a
It's just
house,
who are they going to use?
and they don't have the money to pay
Right.
cash for it.
Right.
It's literally selling water in a desert, right?
That's a great
And I know
analogy.
early in my career,
Mm,
I had somebody early in my career, I bought this course on how to market to um, rental, units. We
hmm
found this apartment
hmm
buildings, have these mass mailers go to these apartment buildings. And dude, that was bad advice.
Yep.
I don't know of a better way to say it. That was bad advice. Now, if that was the only people on earth, it'd be excellent advice, but it's not.
hmm
And what I learned was look for people who are looking for you.
There you go.
Look for people who are looking for you. I don't want to go in and convince somebody. I get that. Hey, but Carl, how do I get somebody to understand that renting's a bad idea?
Yeah.
I- I'm not saying not to give that message because I think most of the time it is a bad idea. But you know what? I'm going to go look for those people that already know it's a bad idea. I'm going to start with them first. And when I
Mm,
run out of them, then I'll start worrying about trying to convince people that buying a house is a good idea. And
yeah.
so I'm going to look for people who are looking for you because they're already buying a house. They don't have the money to pay cash,
Yep.
and they're borrowing the money from somebody. So
hmm
really, we have a very easy job. It's just
You got
this
to get
thing
in
that
front of
you're,
them. Yeah.
yeah, this thing that you're already getting, this money that you're already borrowing. You just need to do it for me because I'm a better solution. You know what? You know what makes us almost always the best solution?
Tell me that.
Easier,
Hey,
easier,
yeah, talk about that.
easier.
Yeah.
So let me tell you why it's not price 90% of the time. So 90% of the people that go buy water, I'm in my car, I'm driving down the interstate, I need to get some water. Where do 90% of the people go to buy water?
First gas station, convenience store you find.
7-Eleven.
How much is that water?
I'm just top of my head, a buck and a half,
No, three
two and a,
dollars.
two and a quarter. Yeah,
Yeah.
somewhere in that neighborhood, right?
Yeah, right.
Now, there's a Walmart probably
Mhm.
2 miles down the road the other direction, right? Like if I
Familiar.
take the
Yeah.
exit and go down 2 miles, because typically Walmart's not right beside the interstate because that's expensive real estate.
Yeah.
And the 7-Eleven has smaller real estate, so it can afford more expensive.
hmm
Walmart takes, hell, I don't know,
Acres. Yeah.
acre, yeah, hundreds or dozens of acres. Let's say it that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Between the store and the so I could go to Walmart, which my wife does, by the way. And when we buy bottled water, I did the math the other day, it's around 20 cents a bottle.
Mm.
So I could go to Walmart and pay
hmm
20 cents a bottle, or I can go to 7-Eleven and pay literally approaching 10 times that. And what do most people do? 10 times,
10 times.
right?
hmm
And why do they do that, Steve?
Convenient.
It's
Easy.
easier,
Pull off, grab your water, get back on the freeway and keep going.
easier. And so
100%.
in our marketing, I think a lot of people, they focus on the 10%, I need to be cheaper.
hmm
And that'll work on 10% of the people.
Yeah.
The other 90%, they want easier.
That's it.
Easy out trumps everything else
Mhm.
90% of the time.
Yeah.
Easy. That's why like Rocket Mortgage,
Yeah.
right? A great company, right?
Yeah.
Some people listening to this likely work there, right? Great company. And they are a great company. I'm not just saying it, they are. They're number one. Anybody that's
Number
number
one.
one is
That's it.
great by
Yeah.
definition, right? Why are they number one?
People believe it's easier.
People believe it's easier.
Yeah.
Like
Hey,
they have that.
you were telling me the other day you actually tried them. You wanted to test that out, how easy it
So
was. And hey, this is a great story
so I
because
might not have brought this story up because it might be a little uncool, but I did. So one
okay,
thing I do, look, if I work for Walmart,
yeah,
I'm going to go into Target
yeah,
and
for
see
sure.
what they're doing different,
What's the
right?
competition doing? They're number one.
Reconnaissance. Yeah,
Yeah,
if I own a McDonald's, I'm going to Burger King to see what are they doing different, right?
right, right.
So so I called up, or actually I went on I got the app,
Yeah,
and so we own a house free and clear, right? All of them. And so I couldn't borrow, I couldn't refinance. So I thought, how about a cash out?
yeah.
So, and I feel maybe I shouldn't share the story, but so I wasn't going to do it,
Well, I think it's
and I didn't
important.
do it,
Yeah.
but I did. I went on the app and I put in the information about a cash out refinance. And thanks to the lovely Mrs. White, brother, we're like the perfect borrower. My
Hmm.
debt to income ratio was like 1, like
Right.
literally. It's
Yeah.
everything but 0. My income is a fantasy for me, right? Truth be known. Um, we have large assets.
Hmm.
We have perfect credit.
Hmm.
We have 0 debt.
Hmm.
So we're perfect. And Maria uses Quicken to do our books,
Books. Yeah.
right? So we're the perfect rocket borrower. Well, we're almost would be perfect if we actually needed to borrow money. I guess
Right.
that would probably help for them. But anyway, so we're like the easiest yes Rocket could ever give, right?
Right.
As the case with you, Steve, and a lot of our listeners, right?
Right.
So I went on to Rocket, went on the app, put in the information. I think I was doing like a 50 LTV cash out. So it's an easy yes.
Yes.
Somewhere, I think it was like, I don't know, it was under a jumbo amount. So, I don't know, somewhere around 500. I can't remember the exact number, somewhere around 500,000 or 400, whatever it was. Um, did the app, and somehow I was expecting money to like, or this approved, like to pop up on my
Ba-ding.
screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
And what happened was, as soon as I did that, about, I don't know, maybe a minute, maybe 2 minutes. It wasn't long.
Yeah. Yeah.
My phone rings and I pick it up, and and I'm going to make up a name because I don't remember who it was. It was, Loan Officer Larry at Rocket Mortgage. Hey, Carl, this is Loan Officer Larry, Rocket Mortgage. Hey, thanks so much. We just got a few clarifying questions. And as we're talking, it hit me. This is just the standard loan
He's going through
officer.
the loan application.
Yeah, he's just
Sure.
like you and I do, or like our loan officers do,
Yeah.
100 times a month, right? And
Yeah.
and I went, all right, so there's no magic to this. Come to find out, that was basically an opt-in to create a conversation,
Mm.
right? Which totally cool. And but the reason I did it was because I thought these guys are easy. Let me see about what part of easy can I learn from them to
Yeah.
make us a better shop at my shop, right? And I did get some things, by the way. For one, when I did the input, man, it was like 1 2 minutes later, my phone rings, right?
That's
So I
it.
said, "Gosh, what do we do the same for that? That even if the loan officer is busy, we can have somebody at the branch, like a loan officer assistant, a loan partner, whatever you want to call that person, maybe to help start the process, and if nothing else, set an appointment on the loan officer's calendar for them to meet,
Sure.
for them to meet." And man, it was easy and it was convenient. And
Yeah.
I think we just have to keep that in mind, that easy out trumps everything else.
Mm.
And we have to figure out what in our mortgage business, what friction can we remove from working with
Mhm.
us,
Mm. Mm.
so that it's wet ice on wet ice, you
Mhm.
know? So just briefly, let's talk about some of the frictions.
Let's do it.
I call and get your voicemail.
That's it. That's a big friction.
Brother, in
Big
my
friction.
world, if I catch somebody's voice, if I call a company and I hit a voicemail,
Oh,
the
yeah.
first thing enters my mind,
I'm on to the next.
I'm not talking to a real company,
Yeah.
right? So, and I get it. If I call the Ford place, the owner, I think whatever it is, Furman Ford, I think it is here in town. I can't remember the name of it. I don't expect Mr. Foreman or Mrs. Furman to answer the phone, right? I
Yeah.
expect that, but I expect somebody to answer the phone. Um,
Hey,
so
which
yeah,
by the way, 79% of mortgage customers use the first loan officer they speak with.
that's exactly right.
That's
So
that's frictionless. I
yeah, so
call,
I even
they
if I don't talk to
answer.
the loan officer, I want somebody there
That's
to
right.
say, "Hey, Carl, like if I call up, hey, I'd like to speak to Steve Kyle's. Hey,
Uh-huh.
Carl, Steve's helping another family right
That's
now,
right.
but he has availability at 2:30 this afternoon on his calendar. Or Steve's helping another family. He wouldn't want you to wait. Let's move you to the front of the line. I can
That's
start
it.
helping you now.
Wow.
We
That's
call
it.
that frictionless,
That's right.
right?
That's right.
So email would be a friction one. I'm sorry, voicemail would be a
Oh,
friction
yep, yep.
one. Um, Gosh, that might be number one, number two, number three right there.
Number four. Yeah,
And
number
number
five, number
four,
six. How many
it,
times do you call and it's like you go to voicemail and it's like, whoa,
dude,
that
I did a test. This is probably 2 years ago now. I did a test where we called, I think it was 100.
it was 100. I remember
Yeah.
this. It was
So we
100.
called, I called 100 loan officers, and I caught voicemail, gosh, top of my memory, 89, if I remember right,
It was
89,
staggering.
89 voicemails, 11 answered.
Mm.
And on the voicemails, I can't remember the number now, but I think it was like 9 or 10 of them, of the voicemails, said that
The mailbox was full,
I,
what?
I couldn't even leave a voicemail because they
Yeah,
said that
yeah.
their voicemail was full. And I remember thinking, how is that possible that I have so many unanswered voicemails that Verizon has tapped out saying, dude, we can't handle any more voicemails from you, Carl. That
Tapping out, tapping out.
one of the biggest servers in the world says is too much. Am I going to leave? Do I even want to work with that person that has a full voice?
Mm,
Like
mm.
that's going to be horrible, sir. Or at least that's the impression I have.
Yeah, that
That
doesn't
would be
sound easy to me.
oh, it sounded, yeah, it doesn't, I can't even leave a message.
I can't,
Right.
like,
So,
what am I supposed to do to get in touch with them?
yeah. So I
Wow.
think, so the moral of the story is you gotta make it feel
Yeah,
easy.
yeah.
You got to make it sound convenient for me.
We
And
have
I
a
don't care
similar
what your
process.
rate
Yeah.
is, because people will pay $2 for a bottle of water. And there's nothing wrong with charging $2 a bottle for water. Or if I'm at Disney, it's whatever, $8 for a bottle of
That's
water,
right. That's right.
right? Because they make it. I'm walking down Main Street. I'm thirsty. There's the water. I make a conscious choice. I'm not there haggling with the price. I just want some
That's right.
water.
Yeah.
And having that same approach in your mortgage business. Hey, just real quick before we get off here. So tell me about the two types of assistance that you guys over at your branch. I know you have a pre-approval specialist
Yeah.
and then a loan partner.
Yeah.
Just real quick, what's the difference between the two?
Yeah. So back in loan partner is somebody who takes it literally contract to close. Once the loan has been disclosed, here's what's really cool, Carl, is they do all of the work from contract to close. So here's their four deliverables. They submit loans in 72 hours. They get 5 or less buyer conditions, clear to close 3 days prior to closing, and docs out in 48 hours. And their job is to keep the loan officer out of the file so that they can go do what matters most, which is the selling activity. I was talking to somebody yesterday. I love him to death. I've known him for about 10 years. And I said, man, I'm not going to say his name, but I said, how many hours a week are you being pulled into the back end, clearing conditions, talking to title, doing insurance? I mean, all this stuff. He said 8 hours. And I was like, wow, Carl, what would happen if you had those 8 hours back? And the back end loan partner's job is to give back the loan officer time to do what matters most. So, contract to close, those are the four deliverables. We found if those four things are done, Carl, the loan officer doesn't have a problem. You can go sell with confidence. And then on the front end, a pre-approval specialist, what they're doing is almost like what a back end loan partner does. It's very similar. They're the ones that set up the loan consultation. They're the ones that chase down the documentation. They're the ones that set up the file, insert in the closing cost, make the recommendation to the loan officer on here's the product I think that we should set the client up, so that when the loan officer gets in a 30-minute loan consultation, it's literally, I just jump in my loan consultation, see the notes, make my notes, and then the loan partner or the pre-approval specialist, Carl, they go in and finish up the approval, send it out. When the contract comes in, they set up the contract, update all of the escrow information, tax information. And guess what? The loan officer sells the rate and locks it in. They chase initial front end documents to button up the file and they hand it off. So on the front end, it's somebody who gets you out of the busy work so the loan officer can keep selling and doing what matters most. And on the back end, It's doing the busy work so that the loan officer and the team on the front end can stay focused on. Carl, we want them to build relationships and stay focused on the selling activity that makes them the most money.
All
So
while
it's
making it easy and convenient for the
easy,
customer.
easy, easy. Yeah,
Yeah.
making it super simple. When you got a process, you know what half of the non-easiness in our business is? It's reactive. It's just chaotic. It's, oh my gosh, they need this. It's urgent, urgent, urgent. What if you could remove the urgent? What if you could know, how many times does somebody just slide into closing? I mean, literally, it's like, dude, we barely made that one. Well, what if you had a team that could literally, Carl, count the days ahead of a contract and be able to say, well, hey, it just has to be submitted by this date, has to be resubbed by this date, has to be clear closed by this date for docs out to be out 48 hours ahead of closing. Here, you know what I found out, Carl? When you got a process and the right team members, there should never be a oh no in our business. Now there may be 1 in 100 because this one unusual crazy thing happened.
Outlier. Mhm.
Yeah, but the truth is, no, the challenge is most teams, most of us before I even knew, just didn't have a process and then didn't have the right team. And realizing the number one job of the support staff is to keep the loan officer focused on sales and to remove chaos and make it easy and have clear communication. And those things are what really you want to get momentum, make it not only easy for the client, make it easy for the loan officer to go get more business. And I think it's both and.
Hmm. Last question. I know we got to wrap this up.
Yeah.
Um, so how many loans per month am I closing that I get the back end help? Like once
Day
contract in,
one, brother. Hey, we are a firm believer, Carl. Here's the thing. If you got breath as a loan officer, you should never touch a file that goes submitted to the back end. Once it's RESPA disclosure, like you have that. We always tell our loan officer, you have no business being in the back. You got a team you can trust, and their job is to push you out to the front. So we call it day one, get one. Like Carl, day one, if you can solidify that when I hand a file off to the back end, Carl, that I don't touch it, I don't chase conditions, I don't set up title, set up insurance, set up the closing fees, set up the all that stuff. You know what? It gives the loan officer all that freedom to go get more business. We don't want them in the back. So like even I would just encourage you, like you've got to, that's the number one thing that will rob your time from what matters most is when you hand it off, staying out of the file. Hey, but Carl, I think it happens with two things. Number one, you've got to trust the process, and number two, trust the people that you're working with. So you got to make sure you got the right people.
Yeah, God knows, man, I've made this mistake in the past. Don't go hire somebody brand new in the industry and try to
Oh,
teach them.
yeah, we've done
Find,
that. Yeah,
find
yeah,
somebody
yeah.
that already
Yeah.
knows how to fly the airplane. Don't
And
teach them
knows how to do it
how to
better than you. Yeah, knows how to
and,
do it better than
and
you.
do it better than me.
That's right.
So good stuff,
That's
man.
right.
Hey, man, if I think it would help if somebody like exactly what does a loan officer do and exactly what does the assistant do.
Oh yeah.
Somebody
Oh
wants
yeah.
to get walked that. How do I talk to you or somebody that walks me through that?
Hey, listen, here's what you know, and I'll do it. Here's what we're gonna do. Well, go to my calendar, meetupwithsteve.com, find it 30 minutes. And you know what I'll do, Carl? I'll literally walk you through or walk them through what the team structure looks like. And not only that, but what they do so that they keep the loan officer out of the back end of the file and give them the metrics behind it. And also, here's the next thing. You know what makes it really easy for the loan officers if you know what the next step is. Carl, what I find is most people don't know it. What volume in units do I need that shared pre-approval specialist? At what volume in units do I need to go dedicated? At what volume in units do I need a mortgage expert or a business development rep? And we've literally, just because we know the numbers, we can help you mathematically map all of that out, and I'll give it to you. So jump in, meetupwithsteve.com, 30 minutes. I'll just show you what we're doing to help our loan officers do even more easier and give the clients an even better experience. So
And
meetupwithsteve.com, and I'll
and
I'll
it,
give it to him. It'd be my gift.
and if you're a branch manager, man, sign on to
Oh,
these
dude.
calls, see what he's doing, and then
Oh,
take that information, take it back to your branch, and put together what pieces of it that you think would work best for your loan officers. Right? Everybody
I
might be a
love it.
little different, but yeah, feel
Yeah.
free if you're a branch manager to go. Hey, is it cool for me? Of course it is, right? That's
Sure. And
just the way
I'll
we
give it to
roll.
you. Meetupwithsteve.com. And I'll even show you how you can move things around that are customized to the way you do it. Because here's what we found, Carl. The things that are done don't change, but you just got to move them to what you're currently doing and how the structure is. And you'll be surprised. Hey, and this is I was showing this to a branch manager yesterday. It was so amazing, Carl. His eyes got so big. You know why? Because what a loan officer does who's doing two, three, or four loans, the same activity from start to fund are
Mhm.
exactly the same. As a loan officer who's doing 30 plus loans a month, none of the activity changes. The key is, when do I shift gears and who do I add and what do they do? And
Right.
that's what we've been, man, really dialing in. It's part of what's helped Sarah. I know this month she's funding 19 units from having not originated loans. Literally less than 2 years ago, she wasn't even originating loans. And it's part of what shifts and helps you say, okay, how do I just get there faster? So as an active coolness, Carl, I'd be happy to meet up with steve.com. I'll give it to you, show it to you, and you implement it where you're at. So
Sounds good. All right.
awesome,
Appreciate
man.
you, brother.
Same here, brother. See you.